If you run a business or even just keep an eye on business news, you've heard it a million times. You've got to go digital. It's talked about like it's this cure all, right? The one single solution for growth, for resilience, for everything in the modern world. But is it really that simple?
So let's really get into it and ask the big question. Is going digital the magic bullet everyone says it is? I mean, does just throwing up a website or selling online automatically mean your business is going to do better? For this explainer, we're going to follow the data and see what it really says.
And our investigation is going to start in the Middle East and North Africa, the MENA region, because it presents this fascinating puzzle. Researchers have a name for it, the digital paradox. See, on one hand, people in the region are all over social media. But on the other hand, businesses have been weirdly slow to jump on the digital bandwagon. And this comparison just lays it all out, right? You see this huge gap. People are online, they're connected, they're talking to each other, but all that digital energy isn't really translating into buying and selling. So the big question is, why? Why aren't businesses tapping into this massive online audience? What's stopping them? And what's happening to the few that do take the plunge? To get some real answers, we've got to zoom in from that big picture view to what's actually happening on the ground. So we're going to dig into the hard data from a study that focused on 3 key countries: Jordan, Morocco, and Egypt. And our clues come from this fantastic 2023 working paper from the Economic Research Forum. What's so great about it is that the researchers didn't just look at old data. They went out and did their own survey at the firm level to get past all the talk and find out what's really going on. The whole point of the study was to solve this mystery by asking 3 very specific questions. First, who are these companies that are actually going digital? Second, does it even help them? Is it worth it? And third, how did they handle the ultimate stress test for any business, the COVID-19 pandemic? Let's see what they found. So the very first finding, it just hammers home that paradox we were talking about. And listen, when we say e-commerce, we mean firms that are actually selling things online, not just ones with a dusty old website. And the number is, well, it's pretty low. Only about 16.5% of the businesses they surveyed were really in the game. The vast majority, not participating. So that immediately leads to the next question, right? Who exactly is in that small 16.5% slice? What do these digital pioneers actually look like? Well, it turns out the data paints a very clear picture. First off, size matters. It's the larger firms that are way more likely to be doing e-commerce. And that kind of makes sense, right? They've got more money to invest in the tech and the people you need to make online sales work. Second, they tend to be younger. These are the newer businesses that were basically born digital. For them, e-commerce isn't some extra thing they tacked on later. It was part of their game plan from day one. And third, and this one is so important, they have more educated owners and employees. We're not just talking about a college degree here. We're talking about having these specific skills to make it online. The digital know-how to manage the platforms, the marketing smarts to find customers. It's really a human issue, not just a tech issue. Okay, so we've got a profile of these companies. Now for the real million-dollar question. Does it actually work? Do these bigger, younger, more skilled firms see a real payoff for all that digital effort? And at first glance, the answer is a big, resounding yes. The data shows a really strong link between doing e-commerce and having higher sales, doing more international trade, and being more innovative. These are some pretty clear wins. But what about the holy grail? The ultimate business metric, productivity. How much you're selling per employee. It's one thing to have more sales, but are these companies actually more efficient? This is where the story gets really juicy. Because this is where the data shows a super important detail. The study found a big productivity boost, but only in Jordan. In Morocco and Egypt, there wasn't a significant impact, at least not yet. The researchers think it's because Jordan's e-commerce scene is just more mature. And that's a huge takeaway. The really big productivity gains don't always happen overnight. It takes time for the whole system to develop. So, we know the benefits are there, even if they take time. But what happens when the entire world economy just gets thrown into chaos? Well, the COVID-19 pandemic gave us an unbelievable real-world stress test for businesses everywhere.
I mean, all of a sudden you had lockdowns, supply chains were a total mess, and you couldn't get near your customers. It was basically adapt or die. And this became a natural experiment. Did being digital act like a lifeline when the physical world shut down? And wow, the data from Jordan on this is crystal clear. The e-firms were way more likely to stay open and keep their sales up compared to businesses that weren't online. E-commerce wasn't just a nice to have for growth, it turned out to be a tool for pure survival. The study's authors really summed it up perfectly. This wasn't some minor thing. It was a defining feature of who survived and who didn't. Being online gave them another way to reach their customers when the front door was locked. Seeing that resilience really proves the power of these digital tools. The evidence is pretty overwhelming. E-commerce is tied to better performance and tougher businesses. So the final question is, how can the MENA region, or any region really, get more than just 16.5% of its businesses to unlock this potential? Well, the study points to three essential things that have to be in place. They call them analog complements. First, you need the people, skilled workers and entrepreneurs. Second, you need the physical stuff, good internet and reliable shipping to actually get products to people. And third, you need a supportive environment with regulations that make it easy to do business. And that's the bottom line, isn't it? Going digital isn't a tech problem. You can't just hand a business a website and expect magic to happen. You have to build the whole ecosystem around it, the skills, the infrastructure, the rules of the road to make it all work. And why does this matter so much? Well, the stakes are absolutely enormous. A World Bank study mentioned in the paper estimates that if the MENA region could go fully digital, it could boost its GDP per capita by a mind-blowing 46% over 30 years. We're talking about a potential gain of over $1.6 trillion. Which brings us right to our final thought. This digital paradox highlights a huge challenge for sure, but it also points to a massive opportunity. If those analog complements, the skills, the logistics, the business environment can be put in place, could this paradox be transformed into a powerful digital dividend for the entire economy? The data suggests the potential is absolutely there, just waiting to be unlocked.